Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Some of you guys who are watching may recognize Sarah from AIME Activate's Marketing Makeover because she was one of the judges. So Sarah, let's just kick it off. What did you think of AIME Activate, specifically the Marketing Makeover segment?
I thought that AIME Activate, like every AIME event, was just fantastic. The energy in the room, the attendance, I couldn't believe. You can't complain about a standing room only event ever. And the Marketing Makeover was so fun to do. It was so fun to work with David and Lisa, and also KP and Andrew and Josh. Everything was so fun. And everything had, such a great energy in the room. Lisa and David were so open to feedback, and that's hard to do. It is hard to get up there, especially the morning session. It's hard to get up there and have someone, critique everything that you thought maybe was good, or you thought you were doing it the way you should do it. So they were great sports about it. It was a great panel. And obviously the end result turned out great as well. So.
Yeah, I thought so too. And Lisa said something that was really stood out to me, at least. She said that she's been in the business for 21 years, and for her to get up on stage and take that criticism to better her business and to better herself, it just goes to show that everybody in any asset that you are, whether it's the broker community or just in life in general, that you never need to stop learning. I thought it was really great too. And it was so nice how everyone was coming up to us and saying, thank you, purple shirts. Thank you so much. It was really fun, but thank you for being a part of Marketing Makeover and for Activate. So obviously today we're going to talk a little bit about marketing, because that's what you and I both do and both know most about. So let's talk about the types of content that people can post. Now, typically people post a lot of graphic pictures, but what do you think about video? Do you think there should be a type of balance in between this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I definitely think there has to be a balance. I think that video content in general is going to get a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more legs out of video. The reason I say that is because I think, one, first and foremost, we're in a people business. We're in a relationship business. And oftentimes the first interaction that someone has with you is not face-to-face. And so anything that you can do to solidify that relationship ahead of time, to get them a borrower, a real estate agent, to get to know you a little bit via social media, for you to become an expert on a topic, whether it's the industry, if you're doing something with MBS, or you're just doing something with why should you refi, or you're doing something with what's the difference between renting and buying, or you're doing all of it. It's an opportunity for you to become the expert on mortgages. And most people that you're engaging with aren't the experts. So they're looking to you for that advice. They're looking to you to understand, what your opinion is on something. And the written form is great. I mean, you still need that. Memes are great. Images are great. But you really need to get people to stop in their tracks as they're scrolling through that feed, as they're going through. And oftentimes the written form is going to get skipped over more often than video. Now, that being said, if you don't capture someone's attention in that first 3 to 5 seconds of a video, they're probably just going to keep scrolling. But if you can grab their attention and get them to be hooked in those first couple of seconds, and they stay for the 30 seconds of the video, or they stay for the whole video if it's a minute long or whatever it is, I think you're going to get a lot more traction, and they're going to get to know you. They're going to know your business, and they're going to get to know you as an expert a lot quicker than what you can do from a written standpoint.
Yeah, and you touched upon it a little bit, but you said in the first 3 to 5 seconds, and then if your video is a minute long. So do you have a recommendation for how long people should be creating videos?
Yeah, I personally think that for social media, the shorter the better. I think that 20 to 30 seconds is a great sweet spot. I think a minute is okay, but I really wouldn't go much beyond a minute on social. People's attention spans are just really, really short, unless you have just a ton of really informative content that you're trying to get across, or that the audience that you're talking to is a very targeted audience. So if you're in a certain group, or you're in a certain conversation, and that this particular topic is really, really critical, then I think it's okay to go a little longer than that. But I think shorter is better. If you can't get across what it is that you want to say in a short, concise manner, you probably need more of a longer form video that maybe belongs on YouTube, or maybe even on your website.
I think that it's great that you address that too, because channel specific content is very important. YouTube is definitely made for longer videos, whereas social media, especially if you think about Instagram stories, they're only designed to be 15 seconds long.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
important to keep those in mind too. For everyone who's just tuning in, I'm with Sarah DeCiantis. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at UWM. So if anybody has any questions, please leave a comment below and we'll get to those at the end of the video. But moving right along, you said a little bit in the video aspect, it's important to have that CTA or to address what's important, at least in the beginning of the video, but even in the post copy. Can you talk a little bit about what a CTA is and what a good one would be for mortgage brokers?
Yeah. So a CTA is a call to action. So basically, no matter what it is that you're communicating from a marketing and advertising standpoint, there should never be anything that you put out there that doesn't have a call to action. So you're basically telling that consumer or that audience, whoever it is you're talking to, what you want them to do. You're never going to really, for the most part, post content and not want someone to take action. So whether that is you're trying to hire, you're trying to bring in more loan officers, and you're talking about what's so great about your culture, what's so great about working for a broker shop. Join now would be a great call to action. Or if you're trying to educate borrowers on what is the difference between a broker and a bank and an online lender, explore the differences or explore the benefits or something that gets them to take that action one step further. I mean, learn more, start now, get a quote, like those are all great as well. But just making sure that whatever it is that you're trying to get them to do, it's very clear in your call to action that that's the next step that you want them to take.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. And also just going back to post copy, it's important that, people have a hook when they address whatever they're referring to. But also, do you have a suggestion on length of post copy? Is it better to be shorter or longer, or does that depend on a person's personal brand?
I think it does depend on a lot of different factors. I think it depends on, is it just post copy that you're posting? Is it post copy attached to a video? Is it post copy attached to an image? But I do think that people tend to, if they have to click that see more, a lot of times they're going to go over it. They're not going to click that see more. So I tend to think that shorter is better. But again, it depends on what the content is, what your brand is. But then also, what is that post copy attached to? So can you do a little bit of a quick blurb that's the intro to a video? I think that would be great. If it's something that requires a little bit longer form, I think that's great. I would just be conscious of the engagement that you're getting on posts. If it's longer form versus a shorter, one sentence or even just a call to action that's followed by, an image.
Yeah, test it out. Doesn't hurt to, test out the waters a little bit. But when we go back to personal branding or company branding, are there any suggestions? Let's just focus on social media. Obviously, your website's important too. But since you and I are little social gals, we can talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you want me to address?
So the difference between personal branding and company branding, and if you feel that there is, obviously they're both important, but where do these kind of cross?
Yeah. So I think that the biggest difference, and actually we saw it with David last week, he was leveraging his personal Facebook page to communicate business messaging. And that's great. That's not that you can't have a cross between personal and business, because again, going back to what I said earlier, like you're in the business to build relationships. You're in the business for somebody to get to know you, for somebody to trust you with the largest decision that they're going to make from a financial standpoint, probably in their life. And so having a personal brand that crosses over into your business brand, I think is important. But also making sure that you have a business profile. I think that is really, really key, especially for Facebook, because there's a lot of things that you are not able to do that would really benefit you from a business standpoint. So two examples, on a personal page, you really can't track analytics. You can't see how things are performing. And also you can't put any paid behind it. So you can't boost anything to try and get a larger reach, to try and get your messaging out in front of a larger audience that you have the capability to do on a business page. So I do think it's an important thing that there is some meshing of the two, because at the end of the day, a lot of times, who you are as an individual in your personal brand also has a lot to do with who you are as a company as well.
Yeah, completely. We actually just got a question in from Casey Finn, and he said, I was reading an article recently that Facebook algorithm is getting away from one sentence posts and going to be giving more attention to storytelling so that the posts have longer texts get more attention. What do you feel about this?
So that's really interesting. I actually just read that yesterday. And so I haven't dove too much into it, but what I believe is happening is that also what Facebook has done more recently is they are trying to, they are suppressing a lot of posts that take people off of the Facebook platform. And I do think that we're going to start to see this more and more in all of the other platforms as well. Maybe not quite as aggressively as Facebook has done. But if there is a link in a post that takes somebody off of Facebook and let's say to your website or to YouTube or wherever, they're actually suppressing a lot of those posts now because they want people to stay on the Facebook platform. So them coming out with that recent update that they're probably going to get away from, or their algorithms going to change a little bit, is I believe in support of wanting to keep people on Facebook. So it's going to require a little bit more storytelling, as the person said. It's going to be a little bit more storytelling, just that one sentence blurb. But if, again, you are going to have a video attached to it, I think what Facebook is really trying to accomplish is that people are staying on the Facebook platform. So I actually have to dig a little bit more into it. I just read that article yesterday. But yes, I think it's right in line with why they are trying to keep people on the platform. So they want more content that is keeping people reading. But at the same time, I think ultimately their goal is just stay on Facebook.
Yeah, this goes a little bit back towards CTAs, but do you think that we could alter, or anybody could alter a CTA to say, like, message me on Facebook or like call me, and then that could still be a way of them, getting that business without leaving Facebook platform?
Yep. Absolutely.
Just a little thought. Getting back on track, are there any quick tips that you recommend for people when they want to enhance their social media page? That's just very simple. Everyone's busy right now. No one wants to, redo their entire page. But is there anything quick that people can take from this message and do it right away?
Yeah. Honestly, I think one of the biggest things, especially if you're on multiple social media platforms, is your Facebook or your profile picture, rather. Your profile picture is really how people are identifying with you, and how they're going to recognize you right out of the gate, depending on what platform that they're on. So having a professional headshot that is of you, and it's very easy to identify who you are in this photo. So instead of having a picture of like you and a bunch of friends, or you and your, significant other, or, the whole family, and people don't really see who you are, having that professional headshot, and then having that headshot on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you are, so that there's consistency. And so that when you go from, or somebody is going from LinkedIn to Facebook and they recognize the same person, they make that connection. So I think that's one of the quickest, fastest, easiest things that somebody can do. And then just applying that across all of their platforms for consistency.
Yeah, and if anybody went to AIME Activate, you got a new headshot, so just upload that right up to your page. Yeah. It's pretty easy. It's all there for you. Yeah. We did get another question. I think it's pretty interesting. LinkedIn versus Facebook. What do you feel about that?
So that's another interesting thing. So traditionally, Facebook is more of like the entertaining content, and LinkedIn has always been more of the professional content. So I think that over the next couple of months, maybe even the next 6 months, we're going to see how LinkedIn evolves. LinkedIn has actually been getting a little bit more towards the Facebook model. It's still a professional, more of a professional platform than Facebook is, but they have started to kind of push people to integrate more of that personal stuff into LinkedIn than was ever there before. And so I think it just depends on who it is that you're trying to reach. I don't believe that most borrowers are going to, or you're going to see much traction from a borrower standpoint on LinkedIn. I think for the most part, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, like that's probably where you're going to gain the most borrowers. But if you're trying to build other professional relationships, I think that LinkedIn is a great option as well.
Yeah, and you touched a little bit on it, but the personal touch and really uploading pictures that make you seem like you. I've noticed on AIME's accounts, whenever I upload pictures that are just raw, I took them with my cell phone, they seem to perform a lot better. So maybe that's something that people can keep in mind too, is just really be yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's all people expect from you too. It's very obvious when something is not authentic, when something is not real. It stands out like a sore thumb. There is absolutely no avoiding. It's awkward for everyone. But being authentic is really, really key to continuing to build those relationships, and even having a personal and business brand. It really comes across in how you present yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And before we started this broadcast, I wrote on Brokers Are Better page asking if anybody had any questions. And we did get an interesting question about TikTok that I would like to address. So the question was, how do you feel about TikTok and social going forward? Do you think that this way of communicating will evolve one day, especially now that Gen Z and millennials make up the majority of the home buying market?
Yeah. So I think that, we've seen a lot of different social platforms come and go over the years. I think TikTok is a great platform. I think that it's a little too soon to determine whether or not TikTok is going to be something that's here to stay or if it's just really going to be a fad. I think that the biggest thing with TikTok is if you're a social aficionado and this is like what you do and you love it and you've mastered all of the other platforms, adding TikTok into the mix to see how it performs for you, I think is great. I would not start with TikTok. That's if you're not on social media today and you're trying to figure out which platform should I start on, which platform should I, take baby steps with. TikTok is probably not where I would start because I don't know if there's quite the audience there yet. But doesn't mean it's not going to get there. It's real hard to say. It's just such a new platform, whether or not it's going to be, again, a fad or if it's going to be something that is going to be one of the core social media platforms going forward. It's quite possible. And we'll definitely pay attention and see it. And who knows, maybe UW will be on TikTok pretty soon.
AIME as well. But I was also reading an article about TikTok not too long ago, and it was saying that McDonald's actually invested a lot of money into TikTok because that's where their audience is. And I think it's interesting that this person asking the question was keeping their audience in mind. So that was a great question. I'm happy that was coming through. Somebody commented and said tactic for recruiting without spamming messages. And that could be, I don't know. What do you think?
So as far as how do I recruit on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
So I think it kind of depends on who you're trying to recruit. To be honest with you, I think that, LinkedIn is not necessarily the most cost efficient place to recruit. So if they're keeping cost in mind, and depending on who it is they're trying to recruit, again, if they're trying to get new people into the industry, so someone who doesn't have a ton of experience and they're trying to bring them up, and Facebook and Instagram, great places to recruit. I actually was just talking to a broker right before we got on this Facebook Live, and gave him a suggestion of, if recruiting is going to be a long-term play and it's not, I need help right now, I need processors right now. If it's going to be a long-term play, considering a separate social media feed for careers. So if you are, whatever it is, it's DeCiantis Mortgage, _ careers or DeCiantis Mortgage Careers or whatever it might be, it really gives you an opportunity to communicate specifically about why someone would want to work there. And it doesn't then have to compete with the other content that you're trying to post to engage with a borrower or to engage with a real estate agent who is probably not interested in you in your recruiting messages. So I think it's, again, if it's a long-term play, I think that's a great thing to do. If you're just trying to get somebody in the door now, it's probably not the path you want to go. But I do think that one of the nice things about LinkedIn is the targeting is much easier. Facebook has gotten really, really strict with their targeting. And so it's not as easy to target people very specifically on Facebook anymore like it is on LinkedIn. I think that from a spamming standpoint, just don't spam. Just don't spam them. Just have genuine messages that you're trying to send out. Make sure that when you're looking at those targeted lists, if you're trying to pull, LOs, whether it's from a specific real estate, shop or whatever it is you're trying to do. Again, going back to being authentic, just make sure it's authentic and real. People can tell when they're being spammed versus I actually, went to your LinkedIn profile and I think you'd be a great fit for our company. So again, I think it goes back to, being authentic.
Yeah, I agree completely with everything that you said. I think this was really insightful. Actually, someone commented and said, thanks for the great information. Your insight is changing my perspective on my social media posts. So that in itself just made this Facebook Live worthwhile. Is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I just thank you guys so much. Good luck in everyone's business lately. I know that it's been a little crazy, but thank you for taking the time to join us for a couple of minutes and take some time away. I think that was, one of the greatest things about AIME Activate last week was great to see is that, nobody is too busy to learn and nobody is too busy to get, just 1 inch better. So it was fantastic. So thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for tuning in and for all of your questions. Until tomorrow, we have another Facebook Live at 2 p.m. We'll see you guys then.
Fantastic. Bye, Corey.
Bye.